There, folks. Welcome to our Bright Ideas session, where we will be showcasing how to personalize and engage all of your learners using Brightspace tools. We're really excited to have you join us today. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know a few housekeeping items. Closed captions are available in Zoom, so please feel free to turn them on or off depending on your needs. The Zoom question and answer box is open for any questions you have throughout today's session. Please keep the questions specific to today's topic, and we will do our best to answer these questions during the session. But if you don't see your answer while we're together, be sure to check the question and answer report that we will send in the follow-up email. And today's session is being recorded, and this will be posted on the Bright Ideas for Higher Education YouTube playlist. And you can expect to see that video posted within a week. And as I mentioned, that we're going to send a follow-up email that will come out to you in the coming days, and that will include the link to the Higher Education YouTube playlist, a copy of the slide deck, which contains additional resources that I will go through at the end of the session, and a copy of the Q&A from today's session. So let's kick things off with our agenda. We'll start with introductions and clarify some common terms. Then we'll have an overview of some Brightspace tools used for personalizing and engaging learners. And from there, we will have a demonstration, and we welcome you to follow along and practice some of the things being shown. And then to wrap up, we'll have time for some questions, a discussion, and I'll point you to some additional resources. So my name is Heather, and I am a customer success specialist at D2L. And joining me is my colleague Victoria, who will be helping me answer your questions in that Q&A box today. And it is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenter, Clint, from South Island District Education School. Clint has been teaching for over 30 years, with the past 17 focused on helping students succeed online in chemistry, math, and physics. He's passionate about making digital learning interactive and meaningful. And he enjoys sharing practical strategies for engagement with other educators. Clint also works with schools and organizations to design training that supports effective, connected online learning. So Clint will be doing the demonstration portion of our webinar today. So we're so excited to have Clint here. And before we get too far, we want to align on some quick terms. So D2L is the company that Victoria and I work for, and Brightspace is our product, a learning management system. And depending on where you work, you might call your Brightspace instance something like Avenue to Learn or PowerEd. And although your learning management system may go by a different name, they all refer to Brightspace. And additionally, here on the screen, we're showing our Brightspace community, which is D2L's free online website where you can find great teaching and learning information, share best practices, and connect with other professionals using Brightspace. So we will add a link into the chat for you to register for Brightspace community if you are not a member yet. So now I am going to pass things over to Clint. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, and it's great to have you joining us here today. I hope to make this introduce you to some useful ideas, maybe give you a few thoughts on how you could do things, extend your ideas and that. We really begin with thinking about what we want to get across with our students, and to get engagement, we also have to plan that idea a bit when we're designing the materials that we're using. We want to give students choice and interaction so that draws them in and engages them more. We want to give them a chance to, it feels personalized, particularly if you're in an asynchronous format where they're not necessarily seeing an instructor every day or all the time, that maybe they're doing a lot of work that's self-paced and the likes. So having that personalization and an opportunity to engage is really quite critical. Now, there's a few different ways we can look at doing that. One is by how we get them to follow directions, participate in activities, and task completion. You want to be able to develop the behaviors to help guide them to what you want them to see, what you want them to do. Make it fairly simple to get a regular process in, but also surprise them here and there with things along the way. You want to give them an opportunity to focus mentally and think deeply and problem solve. That's where your cognitive engagement begins. There's opportunities within Brightspace to do some emotional engagement, to be able to share your passion for something, connect with others, have a sense of belonging. There's lots of tools in there that really help with that. And then social engagement is connecting and being part of a group and collaborating in teamwork. So let's take a look at a few things. One of the things that's really handy is a thing called the welcome widget. When you first log into any course, there's a home page that is your welcoming spot where students see what they're going to see. It's a place where you can have widgets such as like an announcement widget or a way of identifying who's teaching the course. Well, one of the widgets that's kind of useful and helpful is the welcome widget. What's nice about it is it will always open when they enter that page. And there's a lot of control over what gets displayed. So it's really handy for a little bit of quick personal access. It gives a place to give information that's critical for right now. You can have it change based on things that they've done, and often can make students feel like somebody is there anytime they join the page. Because if they've done something that triggers the release of a new piece of information, it seems like somebody has been there paying attention. So you want to have that, even if you can't be there all the time, that there are ways of making them feel involved and connected. It's also a good place you can put in things to help reduce confusion, such as when they first get started in a course, it's popped up, it gives them some instruction as to where to go and start. Really useful tool. Another one is the announcement widget. It's exactly as it sounds, a place to post announcements and let people know of things that are coming up or specific directions you want to give. You can trigger them to be released at certain times so that they're not always there. You can also have them pulled down after they've expired so courses seem fresh and engaged. We have things like checklists. These are kind of handy for having people have an opportunity to see what their progress is in their own minds, to see have they completed the pieces that are required for a given assignment or review. It's particularly useful in things like asynchronous learning to allow students and instructors to see some progress, and it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to a grade, but gives them an opportunity to connect what they're doing. We also have awards. Now, awards can be quite handy. They can be triggered by simple things that people do or complex things. It could be something that is set in there to inspire people to work towards something. A lot of people they get motivated by competition or they get motivated by achievement. It's in a way of acknowledging it. It could come in the form of a badge. It could come in the form of a certificate. It's in professional settings. It can be you've reached a certain certification level. It could be maybe they have to do something to gain access to particular equipment at the university. I go back and remember to when I earned the opportunity to be able to use the NMR machine in the chemistry lab. We had to earn a certificate to do that. This is something where you can have triggered things that acknowledge that they've accomplished something. We also have something called intelligent agents, and I have to confess, this is one of my all-time favorite things in Brightspace. Intelligent agents give you an opportunity to trigger some acknowledgement, email, or notification when people do something. If they've it might be that they posted something and they get a notification that they can then go to this next step. It might be that they've achieved a certain level and you on a particular assessment and you want to acknowledge that with an email. When you have large classes or asynchronous classes, it's a good way to be able to get timely responses back. We're going to take a look at that as well in our demonstration. Fantastic tool, really like it. We also have release conditions, and these are really powerful for helping people work towards being engaged. You can have it where certain things are not released until they've done things in advance. I've got an example on the screen there right now of a take-home test. In order to get to the take-home test, they have to have done the work in the unit. As they complete the work in the unit, that triggers one of the releases. Then it might have released off a practice or a review that they have to complete. When that's done, that's another one of the triggers. And then when all the triggers have been completed, it releases that test to be accessible to them to do. And this could be done with lesson content, which keeps people moving along as a group, or it limits them from jumping ahead and just doing the infamous click, 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 and saying, I know what I'm doing. It makes them have to accomplish something to go to the next step. And we'll look at some of the examples of what can be used to trigger these releases. It's a great way to help scaffold learning, create a sequential progression. One of the other things I find really nice about release conditions, and I use it is for branching learning opportunities, or if you like to gamify your content, you can do like an escape room concept where they accomplish this, which triggers that, which triggers that. It is a great way to engage people in what they do. And then this tool you may or may not have, but I just thought I'd mention it briefly as a really fantastic opportunity to add in interactivity in your lessons. Creator Plus has a variety of sample bits of code that can be used to do everything from, I give an example here of there's a picture and you can click on it and it flips over to information. It might be able to make something that easily has an accordion style bit of information, or tabs that could be used in your lesson content. It brings a lot of formatting to improve lesson content that is very accessible to instructors to be able to make courses much more engaging and interactive. If you don't have this and you're interested, you can talk to your D2L account person about it. I just thought I'd mention it in case it was useful to you. So how about let's dive in and take a look at what the possibilities are and give you a chance to see some of these in action. 1 second here. Okay. Whoops, did it? I can't tell if it flipped. Did it? Oh, good. Thank you. So what I've got here, I'm going to flip to this one first. This here is an example of the welcome widget. When I first load it into the page, it pops up. And I'll just give you an example. I can close this off and then reload the page, and it will come back every single time. This is quite useful because sometimes some of the other tools and widgets can be collapsed and you have to do something in order to bring them back. This will come back every single time. In here, I can format simple messages that go in and give people an opportunity to see things I want to draw attention to. Like, for example, maybe there's a guest speaker coming up. I could have examples of achievements on a particular quiz. I could have examples of things that they are expected to do. With this, we access this particular part by putting a widget on the course homepage, which I'll show you in a sec, and we have an accompanying piece in our course content here. As long as you have this piece called a welcome, in here are the different slides that I might want to use that would appear in that welcome widget. I can assign them, I can format them, and you can see here some of these have little eyeballs on them. Those are ones that are not visible unless I've done something to release them. I'll give an example of this, and then I'll show you how we do that a little bit later. So we can see using the 3 little dots, I've gone into my lesson. I've gone to the three little dots, which gives me the option to edit, but I want to just look at release conditions. This one tells me that they've not yet received a grade for this particular assignment, so that page will be visible. Once they've completed that, this page goes away. We don't see it again. So now I'm going to go back to my home page here. And again, it'll see it pops up. You can see the widget. It has returned again automatically for us. If you're new to working with widgets, how you get access to those is you either will see in this bar, and please remember, sometimes your bar will look different than what I have because I format it in a way that's useful to me. I'm going to hit the drop down and I'm going to look for something called the course admin. In the course admin, I can go down here and you'll see there's lots of different options. Again, depending on what your access is in your courses, you'll see different items in here, but you'll see an option for widgets up here in site setup, and your organization will have widgets that could exist. And welcome widget is one of the ones that you can get and use and add to your page. Once you've added that widget in, I'm going to go back to my page here. You can edit the nav bar and have the widget appear up here. And it's as simple as click add link and then find the particular widget that you're looking for on this. So like if I type welcome and oops, sorry, I'm jumping the wrong spot here at the moment. So your course admin will let you get to adding the widget in, and then you place it. And then what it'll do is, as long as you have in the course content, that welcome content, it will add to that widget anytime you go to use it. To add to your welcome widget, to add a new slide, it's as simple as going and either creating new or adding an existing page. If I do a create new, I can just pick the page, I can say add here, and then I can do whatever I want on it. I'm going to just write this is a demo and make that a new page in here. And it will be accessible. When you do it, you also have to remember to turn on to make it visible to the student. Okay, so that will become visible. If I go back to this, it will now be an 8th slide you'll see here, and that will be the last one. So welcome widgets are a great way to present a whole variety of pieces of information. Now, back on here, we have announcements. Now, this is another one. You can edit your homepage. Again, at the bottom of your page, there are the 3 dots. This is where you can go to choose. You can edit this homepage, and you can add in elements that you might want, such as adding the widget of announcements. And there's my welcome widget added in there. Once you've added that in, you have this tool that you can put up announcements anytime. You can edit them directly in here, or you can go and see the announcement tool where you can see past announcements you've had. Creating a new announcement is as simple as going new announcement. I want to put in here, this is a demo, and you can put in simple announcements that are just formatted like this. You've got some basic tools in here, but you also have the ability to add in code if you understand HTML or have something formatted a little bit further. There's lots of options to improve on it. You also can control the release. So for example, today, right now, we're at 10/21 on the 11th. I can decide to make this become available on the 13th at 3 p.m. so that it releases, let's say, at the end of a day, and then maybe I want it gone by the 20th at 3 p.m. for my next one. And then I would just hit publish, and you'll see here it is with a controlled release. When I go back to my course homepage, you'll notice here that notification, that announcement's not here yet because I have not triggered it yet. This helps you keep things moving along in a fresh and it lets the student know that somebody's there and things are happening. I'm going to give you a brief example of how I use that in one of my courses here. I have announcements like, here's my February announcement, the current one. I've got in a note about the Olympics, things that are coming up, dates to remember, and then I've got this is an announcement that is a consistent one. These two appear long term, but if I go into my announcement tool, what you're going to see here is also I've got announcements going ahead quite a ways in advance. So here's my February 9th one. I've already got a Valentine's Day one in here ready to go. I have an announcement tool in here too, in case I forget to post one. It goes, hi, there's one coming. And I've thought ahead and put in things like our family day, spring break, school closure week, and other announcements like that. So I've got things that are prepped and ready in advance. The announcement tool is really, really handy. The next tool I was going to mention to you is our checklist tool. So if I go in here, in here under checklists, checklists give you an opportunity to do lots of different things. So one of the ones here I'm going to show you as an example is this checklist is a simple selection of oral presentation or formal report. It gives the student a chance to choose which type of assessment they want to choose at the end of a unit or mid-unit for an assignment. This selection can be used to help be a release condition for other information later on in the course. So it's just a real simple checklist. They click on the one that they're going to use and it takes them to it. There are other ones that could be a little bit more involved. So for example, in preparation for an assignment here, we've got review guidelines, things that they needed to do, and we can scroll through and see what your options are.
Clint,
So yes.
Clint, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. We're just not seeing the checklist as you're opening it. I think it might
Oh,
just be in a different window.
hold on a sec. I will try this then. I apologize. Can you
That's
see it
okay.
now?
Yes, we can see it now. Thank
Ha!
you. And thank you to our attendee for pointing that out. Appreciate it.
I apologize for that. I chose the wrong window. Okay, so I'll just go back so you can see again. I used a little drop down here at the end, and I'm previewing what one of these are. And here, this one is the start of term checklist. It tells people the different things they need. It has a due date on it. If you're in asynchronous, you might not have due dates on everything, but if you're in a synchronous class, due dates are often quite handy. And then students can check off as they complete different things. You can also include links in here that they might need. It can look, as you can see, there's lots of different information that is on this checklist. To make a checklist, it's not hard. You just hit new checklist, and then you'll give it a checklist, a title, and then you put in a description. If there's multiple instructors in the course, the description can be particularly useful because then if one person makes it, the others will also understand. Or if it's a course that might be continuing, you'll want to give people a little bit more of an understanding. And then you can also do things like have the checklist appear in a different window when they go to start it. This is handy so it's not occupying their main screen, or they can move it off to the side and double check work as they go along. Once I've created my new checklist, then I can start adding categories and items to them. I can reorder them and then make it available for students to use. I can also add in restrictions. Remember, I've mentioned release conditions a few times here. I can attach a condition that will release this particular item when certain things are accomplished or not accomplished. So as an example, if I hit attach an existing, I've got a whole variety of conditions here that have been used in other things before. So just for simplicity's sake, if they've received less than 70% on a particular quiz, I might select that as the release condition. So if they did the week 1 quiz and it didn't go well, maybe this particular checklist will be things you need to review before having an opportunity to redo this quiz, or things you should redo before you reach a point where this material is assessed again on a test or an interview or things along that line. That's a very common use for that. We can also create and attach new conditions. So if one of the ones you want is not there, there is a great selection of options that you can use. Everything from looking at, has something just been put in a folder? Have you had feedback on it? There's no submission. Did you earn a particular award? Did you complete a checklist? As you can see, there's lots to choose from. I'll let you guys go through that at your own pace. It's well worth looking at to create a level of interactivity with the students. Now, I'm just going to go back to here. Now, we've also mentioned awards. Awards are a fun thing or a useful thing. And I just clicked on the awards thing. If this is not showing in your bar, remember, you can go up under Edit Nav Bar and you can select this from the choice of nav bar items, and then it will appear in here. I've listed, this is my sort of sample class, and one person here has earned an award. If I click on the course awards here, you can see the awards that have been built already in here. And I can look at the properties of these awards. So in the first one here, I haven't assigned any credits to it, but I have assigned a release condition. They have to have a grade of 80% or more on a particular quiz. So once that has been achieved, this award will appear for that student. And as you saw, I only had one appear here. To create a new award, I can just simply go, I can add an award. I can create a new one here. I give it a name. I give it the criteria I want to work with. I can add images to it. I can make it so it's very personalized. It could be something really simple, or it could be something more complex. I can also do things like create certificates that are available through this. A really useful tool. It often inspires many students to do a bit more, even in work settings. I was helping out with one of the trades programs at a local college, and they were using it as a preliminary before they started heading towards one of their certification levels. So after they'd achieved 3 of the awards, then they had an opportunity to do that next level of certification. So a great little tool to be able to use. Now, the next topic I want to mention, I've mentioned release conditions to you quite a few times. They appear in all kinds of different places. I can have a release condition in content, for example. You might notice here in my chemistry course, as I scroll down from the teacher view, you'll see here some of this material has a little eyeball by it, meaning it's not necessarily visible until something happens. If I go up here to the 3 little dots, I can edit my page, view standards, but I can go under view release conditions, and it will tell me I have to have done this registration assignment to even unlock that next bit of content. This means that I can control the flow and progress of students to a degree. I can make it so that they have to do some background work so they have an understanding of material before they can go to the next step. So that's one simple example, but I have much more specific examples later on, like when we get down here to this one of my release conditions is they have to have scored a certain level on a rubric. That will unlock this answer key and a self-reflection for the students. So that means they've handed in the work. They've got a certain proficiency level on it. Now they can check over their work themselves and reflect on it before, and then they can move on to the next piece, which would be the review. And in order to get to the review, it has a release condition. In this case, they've submitted their reflection and they've got above a certain score on their assignment. And likewise, I've got different release conditions all throughout. These release conditions can also apply in quizzes and tests. You'll see there's a variety of notifications at the end of these pieces that don't let students access or even see it until certain conditions are met. Now, to give an example of how something like this might appear, I'm going to go in and edit my course. When I edit my quiz, in this case, here's my quiz. I have my instructions. I have all my questions and the likes. But over here under availability, I click on that. Now, if you were in a synchronous class, you probably have a start date and end date for when certain things are available to the students. If you're asynchronous, you're probably not using this as much, but you could have other conditions. Like here, I have they must have scored above 50% on their assignment. They must have had above 80% on their academic integrity quiz. They must have made at least one successful attempt on the practice test, and they have not yet received a grade for the Unit 1-2 test. And then they also have to be enrolled as a student. And I put that one in so that teachers are not being bothered by whether or not they can or cannot see it. They can just see it. This limits when students can actually see it. I can also do further restrictions by managing special access to students based on other conditions. I'm not going to go into that one here right now. To add a condition, in this case, I have all of these must be met. I can add a release condition by simply going create new, and I can choose something that may be relevant to this particular thing. Like maybe they completed the checklist for topics on term 1 test. So if I selected that, then that would add that as a criteria. And because I've selected here, I have it selected that they must meet all the conditions here, or you can also have it where they meet any. So if you've got a branching activity where they could have gone this route or gone that route, you can have it, they've either done this or they've done that. So that's a way of having a bit more control over your release conditions. This can also work if you've got discussion posts. You can have a discussion post not be available until students have done certain things. You can have it that they must respond, that they must post their own response before they can see others' responses. There's these variety of ways you can use release conditions to help make your courses more engaging. And then I'm just going to go back here for just 1 second. I mentioned very briefly about having things like the Creator Plus. I will just show you one brief thing on this. If I go into a sample lesson here, maybe some point in here, I want to create a new page. As I go into my page, and maybe I have a topic, interesting stuff. Obviously, I'd put more thought into it. You can also, if you have a graphic designer who works for your organization, or maybe if you know a little HTML, you can do some great formatting either with the built-in tools or put it directly in as code. But I can also do things like add in here a simple element, such as maybe I want to do flip cards or an accordion style. Just choose the accordion style for the moment. And this is idea 1, and then stuff to know. And then I could go down to idea 2, stuff to know. And then I could add more if I want. I can preview what this looks like. And I've just assembled something really quickly. I can insert images. I can insert other ideas into it. It's very simple to add these in, and they go immediately in. They're formatted quite nicely in general, but you can, as I say, add pictures. You can add extra formatting. And if you know HTML, you can even add a bit more stuff to it. And going back to, so what we've looked at here is we've looked at some ways of providing ways to engage students by giving them information, by giving them some interactivity, by personalizing it. And I just realized I forgot my most important one, which, if it's okay, I'd like to back up for just a second. 1 second here. The one I forgot to show you guys, this is a really important one, is under course admin. Again, you can scroll down to intelligent agents. This is the one I think most of you will find particularly useful. I use this one for many different things. For example, here you can see different ones that have triggered things like, for example, in our organization, there is a point where students can enter before they get funded. This will go out as a notification. I've got ones where they're triggered when people are ready for tests. So as an example here, if I go in and edit this agent, I told what it is. I have an ability to schedule it. I run this agent every single day. Agents are a tool that allow for a timed release or a conditional release of some kind of information. I choose when I want it to happen, and I can choose the criteria that must be met. So in this case, it's any user visible in the course, or I can assign specific roles. So we have different roles of people, sometimes teachers, sometimes students, sometimes pre-activation students. I have a criteria of what they have had to have met. Once they have met all these criteria, so they had greater than 50% on the Unit 4 test, Unit 5 test, Unit 6 test, it unlocks their supervised test. It becomes available. Prior to that point, this message won't be available to them. It doesn't go anywhere. Once they've met this criteria, I then get, for the first time it's met, it will send out an email. It says who I am and who to reply to. It goes to the student and gives them this information so they know this is coming. I want to point something out here. I have used something here called a replacement string. These are really wonderful little tools. So I don't have a good memory for these off the top of my head, but there's a little button here you can click. Oops, I know you probably did. I don't know if I selected the right one again. I'm going to go back to this. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it.
I chose wrong again, didn't I, when I first did it? In here, you can see these are the replacement strings that I can use. So instead of having to name a particular student, the student that triggers this intelligent agent, their email or their will be placed in this spot and sent to them directly. It also gives me an opportunity to personalize this being sent to them. In this case, again, I've used different replacement strings. It tells you what each one of these does. You can just simply copy it right from within this. So if I want to use their first name, I select that, copy it, and paste it in. So initiating first name, last name, and it, pardon me, and then the rest of my subject line. So it'd be like Bob Smith, term 2 test supervised is whatever. And then if I want, I can also include adding files or things they might need to this release. To make one of these, it's very simple. You click on New Agent. Again, I'm writing this is a demo. I would put in a description here of something of why I have this. I can choose, if there are certain categories in your course, you can assign it to that. This button is important. If this is not clicked, the agent does not happen. So I'll leave that blank because I'm not making this happen right now. I would schedule this. I could decide how often I want it to run. So maybe I want a weekly check every 1 week. I want it to happen on Thursdays. I want it to happen at 12 o'clock. And I think maybe not at AM, I'll make it happen at PM. I can have a start date and end date if I want that to happen, or I can leave it open so it continues to happen. I can set my criteria. So in this case, I'm going to choose to send this to students. And then I want to, I could have it based on when they log in or certain activity in the course or a specific release condition. So again, I click on release conditions. I choose something that's relevant to me that I want them. Maybe they viewed a particular topic in the course. In this case, maybe they did their safety lesson in here. So I hit create, and then I want all conditions to be met. I only have one, so I'm not worried about that statement too much. And then I go under actions. And here, I can have it happen once or every time they meet this criteria. So if it's something that needs to be done many times, I'm going to choose just once and send an email. I want to send it to the person that triggers it. So I'm going to select that, copy it, paste it. I can CC it or blind CC it. I could specify particular people it's sent to. And I'm going to put down this is a demo sent to, and then I'm going to take their initiating user first name and paste it in there. So what it will say in the subject line, this is a demo sent to Bob, sent to Sue, sent to whomever. It gives that level of personalization that they think that it's coming to them. And now this is the trickier part, making it sound like you're sending it to them directly. That's important. I'm going to do hello, initiating first, the user first name, and then something nice. And then if I want to add the file, I could put that there. I could record things. Usually for a video or audio, you'll get a link that goes in there. I could have it as plain text. I can have it HTML. I can add other elements to it. And then I hit save. I know it's saved. I'm going to hit close as well on this. I have not enabled this in Agent at this time, so it won't actually run for them. Down at the very bottom here, I've got, this is a demo. I can also from here do a practice run to see if the results are what you want. And I highly, highly recommend that because I one time had it and it sent to everybody. And that is kind of a messy thing, especially if it's one of those ones of you were not successful on this particular thing. That's a horrible thing. You get a lot of emails when that happens. That's a lot of information to you guys all at once. I'm going to hand this back and then we'll be 1 second here. I'm going to shift to this. So we, again, as I said, we've looked at different ways of engaging through the design. We've got different tools that we're looking at. We've got different ways of personalizing. Fantastic opportunity. I do want to draw attention to one of the things that was mentioned at the very beginning is that the D2L community is awesome. There's lots of great information out there and so many fantastic people. I find they're very helpful. Take advantage of it. Ask questions. Connect with others. You never know where it's going to lead to. Over to you.
Thank you, Clint. And I just have a few administrative type things to go through and a few things to show you folks, and then we'll have a little bit of time for some questions for Clint. So we would love to hear from you, to let us know how we're doing, and we love to get this feedback so that we can improve our offerings and really making sure that we're delivering what it is that you want to see. So Victoria has put a survey link into the chat. The QR code is up on the screen if you have a device, a smartphone beside you that you can scan there. Additionally, we also have two links that are on this slide in this product feedback box here. And these will direct you to the Brightspace community where you can learn more about our approach to product feedback and learn more about participating in user experience research. And we also invite you to join the D2L Champions program. Being a champion gives you the opportunity to receive points for sharing your experience, providing your feedback, and even for checking out our webinars like this one. And you can redeem these points for swag, gift cards, charity options, and additional D2L services. And there is a link in the chat there for you to learn more about the Champions program. And here is a look at some of our upcoming sessions. The links to register for these sessions are in the chat. So just something to note that the March 6th session on discovering the new content experience, that is a separate link because it is part of our Upgrade Essentials series. So just note that if you want to sign up for that one, it's at a separate link than the other three that are part of our higher education Bright Ideas sessions. And I also wanted to let you know about 2 monthly webinar sessions that our training team hosts for all Brightspace users. The first one that they host is a Q&A drop-in session where you can get your Brightspace questions answered in real time. And the second is focused on what's new in Brightspace using our monthly release notes. And these sessions, they give you free access to our D2L training team in a way that you might not get otherwise. So if you are available at those times throughout the upcoming months, there is a link in the chat for more information on those sessions. And then I very briefly want to show this summary table of the tools that Clint went through. So this will be in the deck that will be sent out after. And then we also have some links to some resources that are within Brightspace community. And these are all hyperlinked for you, so you can click right on them and that will take you right to Brightspace community. Just wanted to show you these so you know that they're at the end of this slide deck that will be in your inbox in the coming days. And so now we move into our discussion portion. If you would like to reflect on these questions, please, we welcome you to do that. Or if you would like to post in the chat an answer to these questions, you are more than welcome to do so as well. The chat is open to everyone now. And we will also use this time to ask some questions to Clint. If you have anything that you want to ask, you can come off mute by raising your hand. So the floor is open. And if you are heading out already and don't have time to stay for the discussion portion, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and we hope to see you next month. Hello.